All right, happy Monday. Happy Monday. How are you doing? I am checking the streams. Let's see. Okay. And streaming. Supposed to forget it. I can tell sometimes. All right, welcome. Welcome to Dev Jobs Daily. My name is Keith, and I have been a professional developer for over 30 years. And I created the stream as a hangout for people who are in the job market looking for a job in tech, leaning more towards programmers because that's what I have been. But certainly anybody who's interested in getting into tech or looking to get into tech, QA, backend, database, data science, all those things, come hang out. Looking for a job sucks. Have a place to be consistently getting up and hanging out while you get those job applications out. That's kind of what our goal is. We have had a bit of a run lately in terms of the jobs. Very flat, but we'll look at those numbers in a second. It was a productive weekend for me. I got a bunch of stuff done. Got some things done I wasn't expecting, but that's all right. That's all right. Let's jump into the numbers. So I have been tracking job posting numbers on Indeed for over 900 days for entry-level JavaScript developers. And this gives us a snapshot. It's not a complete list of all of the jobs that are up for being posted in the market, but it is from the largest job board that's out there, so it's significantly statistically valuable to get that kind of data. And what it's telling us is last week it's been a slight dip. Over the last 6 months, we've had a healthy trend upward. And then over the year, last year, it's been about flat. But again, if you look at our dip that we had during the summer last year, we're definitely up 20 to 30% in some instances above the jobs that were being posted last summer. So we gotta take any little win we can. To be more granular about that data, I have all JavaScript jobs in the United States, and both in the office and in remote. And again, they've been trending up, but fairly flat in the last several weeks. And I anticipate this to continue. We got a news story about that today, about why that might be. Entry level, mid level, and senior level in the office, flat variation, still trending up. We'll see how that pans out. And then in remote work, for all the talk of remote work's going away and return to office in these large companies, there's still a trend line where it's out there. Medium and small size companies, they can make remote work and get the benefits out of it. So again, I check those every day on JavaScript. On Indeed.com. I do it because Indeed has um, the ability to filter your data. So if I do a search of JavaScript jobs, the most important filter for you is this last 24 hours. Right? We want to be only applying for the freshest jobs, because every person who puts a application in just goes at the bottom of a stack, and the longer you wait, that stack's going to get taller, and if it gets a little too tall, they'll find somebody before they even get to you, whether you're the most qualified or not. So stay on top of it. Getting up every day. Hopefully you got up on Saturday. Hopefully you got up on Sunday. I got up to check the numbers. And there were new jobs posted. New jobs posted on Sunday, on Saturday, and Sunday. Not as many, but again, you just want to be at the top of the stack. Yeah. How are we doing today? Happy to have a conversation too. If you have a question, you want to throw it in the chat. Happy to react to anything kind of in tech. In my 30 plus years experience, and also if I have no experience or knowledge in the subject, I'm sure I'll still have an opinion. There we go. That makes it easy. Okay. And I'm on Indeed all the time. Multiple times every day. Part of the reason, one small part of the reason, is that they got a pretty good news feed. And if you're checking out what's going on in tech, both specifically in tech and in the larger business community, LinkedIn's a good place to be hanging out, especially if you're in a job search. But that'll give me tips for stories like this. Apple plans a $500 billion in U.S. investment, 20,000 research jobs in the next 4 years. Their AI research jobs. And it's going to include a giant factory in Texas. I am broadcasting from Austin, Texas. We've got a decent-sized campus here. I interviewed with them many years ago. Many years ago. Ended up taking another job because they were dragging their feet on the offer. So Austin certainly could benefit from this. The move comes after reports that Tim Cook met Donald Trump last week. Many of Apple's products are assembled in China and could face 10% tariffs imposed by Trump, though the iPhone maker had secured some waivers from China. Apple made similar announcement about U.S. spending plans in 2018 during the first Trump administration, when it said a new and ongoing investments would contribute $350 billion to the United States. Market is down. Yeah. We'll see what that means. But, it probably means some jobs, if not a $500 million. NVIDIA is set to report its earnings this week. Marking the next big test of the artificial intelligence boom. $3.4 trillion chip maker will face scrutiny over its Blackwell chip architecture as well as its upcoming products, manufacturing woes, and moves into robotics and quantum technologies. That's after DeepSeek last month said it could keep pace with leading AI models while using significantly less money and energy. Yeah. They're a big chunk of the market right now. Where they go, things will follow for sure. Inflation is back in the spotlight this week with a key gauge forecast to show slightly slower growth on consumer prices. U.S. personal consumption and expenditures index is expected to have risen 2.5% in January, less than the 2.6 in December, according to an inflation nowcast by the Federal Reserve of Cleveland. The Fed has emphasized it won't resume interest rate cuts last year, since that started last year, unless the inflation shows clear signs of cooling again. So, yeah, and of course, these kind of things have an indirect effect on us in tech. Companies get cold feet on IPOs. This is what we've been talking about on the stream for a couple of weeks now, as everything's kind of flattened out and been a little bit more, a lot more uncertainty in the space. The new U.S. presidential administration was expected to bring a wave of deal making, yet market uncertainty and ever-evolving trade regulations have led to some tech companies hesitating about going forward with IPOs. While the overall pace of public offerings is ahead of last year, the startups like Turo and Cerebras delayed their long-planned IPOs, while hotly tipped companies like Stripe, Databricks continue to raise capital as private firms. Yeah, this is a big shakeup in tech in terms of what are the exit options for companies. You know, if you build a large company like Airbnb on the backs of your investors who gave you tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in some instances, and you're a very profitable company, that's not what the VCs want. They want an exit. What does an exit mean? It means a sale, a merger, or an IPO. Those are the big ones, right? Mergers have been under scrutiny. Sales have been under scrutiny during the last administration. So that was off the table. And the market was still recovering, and while there were more IPOs last year than the year before, not nearly as many as the heyday. So something to pay attention to. When VCs get exits, they're flush with cash. They're more likely to be putting that into other companies, which means growth and more jobs. College student training AI says meeting-free work can pay up to $30 an hour and is perfect for an introvert. There's a lot in there. These kind of stories. He's a college student. He or she's a college student, and everybody needs to make a little side money for sure. But my daughter's got a job. My son, who's in high school, has got a job. But I don't know. There's a whole lot about that doesn't sit well. All these gig economy jobs, you can make them work for you. You can also get stuck on that carousel and not get anywhere. Up to $30 an hour. Up to. It's nonsense work. And if you're breaking into the business world, you need more experience around people. You need to develop that social emotional learning. You don't need less. So, again, if you can find a balance in your life and make a little extra cash this way, that's great. But, um, we get a career and we grow a career by the relationships we have, not by the, pure skill that we have. Just not the way the world works. Gen Z job seekers are turning to social media to find employment. Expert tips on making it work for you. Job seekers, 46% say that social media is a helpful tool to discover jobs they wouldn't have otherwise and get help. In the interview process, all tactics used by most Gen Zers and millennials help get in the interview process. Again, these aren't not knowledge worker jobs, though. They're just jobs. How to reach out to a boss and network through social media. I mean, that certainly has flattened. Social media definitely has flattened the communication between CEO and customer and CEO and employee if they choose to use it. Not all of them do. But if you worked at Apple, there's a non-zero chance that you might end up interacting with them on Twitter or on some of these platforms because you say something that comes on their radar and they're responding to you, and all of a sudden you're off to the races. Right? It's interesting. That part of it is definitely interesting. Using social media as a tool for advice, a form of guidance for one's job hunt. The main thing about social media is just getting out to your network and letting people in your network know that you're available. Because you don't know, who's working where. And I just had somebody reach out, one of our previous students last week, and said, "Hey, my company's hiring. They're looking for somebody to fill this position. Have you got anybody?" And I was like, "Yeah, can you send me the job posting so I can share it?" And he's like, "It's not even posted yet. It's just internal. They're just looking for somebody." And I was like, "Even better. I'm gonna tell the word to everybody I can." Because those are the jobs you want. You want the ones that haven't been posted yet. You want connections through people that you know. So don't sleep on that aspect of it. But like all social media, pay attention to how much time you're spending in the app and how productive you're being, for sure. What's going on in the world of technology? Apple abandons budget smartphone market. This iPhone 16e. I did not even look at one story about that announcement last week. Phone. Like 40% of tech news is phone news. Apple may copy Samsung by integrating Gemini into Apple Intelligence. Amazon is shutting down Kindle download. Oh yeah, we talked about that last week. 5 days old. Why are they 5 days old stories in my feed? Google's new AI video model, Veo 2, will cost 50 cents per second. Google DeepMind sets pricing for Veo 2. AI video generation. $30 a minute. That seems pricey. I mean, we've talked about this before, where these pricing models are and where they're going to end up, because right now they're being subsidized with all the VC money. But at a certain point, they're going to have to charge, you know, enough to make it profitable for them. Because, they're building these huge server farms with the latest technology. By the time they finish the server farm build, there'll be another generation of the new servers out there, and those things start, losing their value pretty quickly after you get off the lot. So, that's a continuing investment for them. Let's see. $30 a minute. In the early 90s, before I got settled in the tech career, I was doing video work, and in the early 90s, editing video on a computer was very new, and only the high-end editing suites would have these digital non-linear editors, as we referred to them, and they would charge like $500 an hour to rent them, and that it was just a crazy amount of money. And you just don't feel that creative when you got the clock ticking, and you can see the minutes and the dollars rolling by. $30 a minute is a lot, unless this thing, gives you exactly what you want. It can read your mind and knows exactly what you want. Because, $30 a minute, if you're going to make a feature film, that's a pretty cheap little deal if you got it all on the first take and there were no reshoots. But it's going to add up. That'll be interesting, because they'll have a cutting edge model, but how quick is open source coming behind it? And maybe the open source is only 80% as good. At a certain point, that 80% isn't going to mean anything. They're just going to be good enough. For MacBook Air marketing sales, prepare for a March to be debut. I never really cared for the super thin computer. I want a beefy computer. Give me a computer that's twice the size of one of those thin ones, and make the other half all battery. That's what I want. I want a battery that's going to last me 16 hours on my laptop. And I like it substantial. I don't like the flimsy feel. Let's see what else we got. More talk about the quantum computer, the fallout from that. Although these are days old, these stories. The mirrorless digital cameras feature sleek unibody. I keep seeing these, and I guess I'd be very curious to know what the digital camera market size is. Like, since everybody got cell phones, like that has had to have killed the market. But I'm curious about what those numbers look like, because digital cameras came in and killed traditional cameras market. Be interesting to see what it looked like for digital cameras when camera phones got a lot better. I mean, my phone on my little budget Android is nothing to write home about, but comparing that to actually carrying around another camera, it's good enough. It's good enough. NVIDIA confirms rare RTX 5090 and 5070 Ti manufacturing issue. That was 3 days ago. This is the manufacturing stuff they were talking about. I didn't catch that last week. Gaming, Pokemon. Chip. I was listening to Dig Nation, the reboot of the Dig Nation podcast, and they were talking about Kevin Rose was building his new gaming computer. He hadn't built one in decades, and he was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to build my own computer. He started buying up all the parts and stuff, and they asked him what processor he went with, and he said AMD. Went with AMD. He was very excited about the new AMD chips. Interesting. Kind of off my radar. SMS code authentication. Gmail will soon switch from SMS codes in favor of QR codes. Gmail authentication update, a major shift. Okay, well, we're always changing the authentication stuff. Always changing it. GTA 6 fans disappointed. New GTA 5 requirements rise significantly. Young coders are using AI for everything, giving blank stares when asked how programs actually work. You know, I was watching some podcast, and there was some, notable tech programmer person, and he was talking about if AI tools were making us, taking away some of our programming skills, because we don't have to remember as many things or work out, reason through as many things. But this is the way of the world. Like, yes, that's probably true in some extent. But when I was a kid, and I'm in my 50s, there was conversations about whether kids should have calculators in school, right? And we look back, and that conversation seems a little silly now. Of course, why wouldn't they have calculators in schools? You still got to learn your multiplication tables, and beyond that, everything we were doing on paper, we can do on a calculator. You don't need to do 17 plus times 45, 43, 17 times 43 in your head. Like, that's not a skill that most people would have had anyway. So, we're going to look at this just like that. And this is like true, because right now I'll talk to a current crop of programmers and ones that say that they're front-end developers, and they'll complain about CSS. Like my generation, CSS as a front-end developer, that's what you had to learn. If you weren't solid at your CSS, you weren't going to be a good front-end developer. And because of frameworks like Tailwind, because of CSS and JS, like we don't have to write code. New developers don't have to write code in the same way that we did. Same thing is going to be true as we move forward. What we're starting to learn with all these AI assistants is it's not about syntax. It's about programming. It's about understanding how to break down a big problem into a bunch of small problems and then solve those small problems iteratively. That is the job, right? And whether you're typing or you're speaking to an AI, any significantly complex piece of software is made up of thousands of small decisions. And those small decisions are more often than not, made by programmers. But the ones that are not are, essentially around not just what is the functionality of this, but how does the interface work? Is it engaging? Is it intuitive? Like those kind of things, there are still decisions that are going to have to be made. So it'll be, we're going to be. I watched another video last night, about vibe coding. The idea that Karpathy put out on Twitter that he's been playing around with just doing coding with AI, where he commits to not writing one line of code, even though he can. So the whole thing is about just the interactive, iterative communication between him and the AI. Now, he's not building the most complex things, and he admitted in the tweet that more complex projects don't work, but he's calling it vibe coding because it's like, hey, let's just come up with this interesting little idea, and let's just kind of see if we can kind of have a conversation and end up with that idea being there. So I've been doing that. Did a little bit of that this weekend. This is where things are going. This is the way we write code now. So we definitely have to embrace it. What AI tools are you guys using? Put them in the chat. Let's talk about it. This $5 Steam game about digging a hole has consumed my life. I've been seeing clips of this all over YouTube. It wasn't for me, but it's interesting. Simplified idea. Samsung Gallery, Pokemon Go, Tour Pass. I don't think there's anybody in my family playing Pokemon Go anymore. I think it was the last holdout. Could QDEL replace OLED? Yes, and it might happen sooner than expected. I don't even know what QDEL is. Never even heard of it. When there's a thing I hadn't heard of, I always want to at least read one article about it. Because you never know. The next 3 years, that's the thing everybody's going to be all about. SpaceX will launch its Starship mega rocket this week. Boca Chica. Avowed. Never played that. Flaw in the Samsung Secure folder lets anyone see what apps and photos you have. Okay, that seems not good. Earth's first asteroid mining prospector heads to the launch pad. Interesting. It could explore the asteroid belt almost indefinitely. Okay. This mid-engine sports car with Toyota's reliability is a steal. So what is new? What side project are you guys working on? I did a little something. We might look at it. Oh, we should look at it today. I'm going to make an announcement about it today. If you are in the Austin area and or you are headed to the Austin area in a couple of weeks for South by Southwest, I put together an application to track all the free events that are non-badge holder events that anybody can take part in. And I put up a little app about that. University of Alabama spends $75 million on student services and pickleball courts. $75 million worth of pickleball. Yup. Sparking Gen Z interest. An Instagram-like app for private groups. Yup. I don't know that one. AI stunned scientists. Superbug mystery solved in 48 hours after decades-long research. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. That is the kind of stuff I want to see. How to use Samsung Galaxy AI offline. I still haven't started playing around with Gemini yet. I haven't had time. I can't keep up with all these new models coming out. I had 2 friends talk to me about how solid it was. I was like, I don't have time. Is it twice as good as the existing solution? No. Then I'm not gonna go spend a whole lot of time with it right now. Too many AI tools out there to stay on top of. What are you gonna do? Asus is making a fragrance mouse, and it's coming to the US. It can be filled with an oil to make your desk less stinky, but there has to be a better way. An oil diffuser inside of a mouse. You know, I was just saying this last week. Asus, man, they're willing to take some crazy bets, and with all the sort of weird tablet and laptop convertible solutions that they are out of the box thinkers over there, and I wouldn't bet against them. I wouldn't buy this mouse, but I would not bet against them. They're going to be around for a while. They're just too damn creative. And the fact that, they're still around doing goofy stuff like this means they figured something out. They at least have to figure out how to bring a product to market for a reasonable amount, so there's less chance of losing everything. Walt Disney's private bar was a well-kept secret for decades. They didn't shout it out, but ever since the internet, we've known about it. If you're so inclined to look at that stuff. Warp drive may be achievable sooner than we expected. That would change the game. That would change the game. And by sooner than expected, they mean maybe someday, as opposed to no, that was impossible before. Alright, Apple. Marvel Rivals didn't play it. Has anybody played it? I have not played it. I haven't even watched anybody else play it on YouTube, so. Phone stuff, video games. Yikes. Turbo is coming back. You remember those electric cars and everything? Nope. feel that rumble, I guess. Electric cars, they're fast, but they just don't have quite the same visceral. I have not seen many interviews with Johnny Ive. I think he's pretty reclusive in that sense, but there's there needs to be a. He's still in the middle of his career, but there needs to be a documentary about that dude if there's not one already, because I want to know more about him and how he works. Foldable phones. Have you seen a foldable phone in the wild? I have not. I have yet to see it. I don't get out a lot. I do work from home. But still haven't seen one, not in the wild. I tried this new AI agent that takes control of your mouse and keyboard to help get tasks done, and I can't believe how good it is. Browser use agents. You know, I have not. I need to play around with it. When they first came out, I tried them and they were awful. But I should probably try that this week, because there are a couple of things that I'd like to see if I can get done with this. So I'm curious. As your work companion, I am curious about that, because my job does mean that time to time I have to have a couple of tabs open and copy things back and forth from those manually. If I get an AI to automate that process, ooh, life would be much better. This is what we want. We want AI to automate those tasks that are mind-numbingly boring. That's what we want to get rid of. Let's see more specifically. Human therapists prepare to battle against AI pretenders. Is it? Human therapists are not going to go away. But it'd be interesting to see. I spent 10 years in therapy, talk therapy, from 25 to 35. And not the same therapist, different therapists every time. And, finding a balance between having somebody who can draw stuff out of you and finding a comfort level with them to kind of say the things that are really the core of whatever's going on in your brain. I can see where chatbots could be a part of that to help you ease in. But man, how do you trust a thing unless it's running locally to say the kind of things you would say to your therapist? I mean, people are going to do it, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Chatbots becoming a children's best friend. This is inevitable. Number one, and number two, it goes back to what's that Asa Butterfield movie? That's coming. And oftentimes they won't even know it because it'll just be bots inside of their Discord rooms and stuff they're hanging out in. They'll just end up getting in long conversations, DMs with a bot on the thing, as opposed to just specifically looking for. I don't know. The world's gonna get weirder. Weirder. Meta runs campaign in Middle East to mark the launch of Meta AI. With support for Arabic. Grok blocked results saying Musk and Trump spread misinformation. Elon Musk AI Grok 3 ranks him, Donald Trump, and JD Vance among America's most harmful. Funny, but it's everything wrong with modern tech press at the same time. Nvidia's earnings to be a test of AI chip demand. Need to attend a meeting, order groceries, book a flight. There's an AI agent for that. Breaking news. AI agents have clear mission, but a hazy business model. Yeah. Exactly. But we use free tools all the time that we wouldn't pay for. Somebody builds them, we'll use them. Older AI model shows sign of cognitive decline. We saw that. That's an old story. Old story. Alibaba stock is falling Monday. Lots of uncertainty in the markets. Even more if you're a government worker. Over the weekend, you may have gotten an email. And your job might be on the line. Instagram tests AI-based tasks via DMs. AI-based tasks via DMs. American AI is high on its own supply. Qatar Airways displays booking system. Vexing questions on AI confront Phil. Yeah, lots of legislation stuff bubbling up these days. I mean, looking a lot more legal news in the tech space around AI. Changing how Silicon Valley builds startups. I think that's absolutely true. I was having this conversation on Friday night that AI is still not good at all at parachuting into an existing code base and being able to be very helpful. I mean, again, you can be an assistant to somebody who's managing it, but in terms of like turning over an AI to say, hey, go build me a new feature in a very complex system that's been built on millions of lines of code over decades, AI is not going to get you where you need to go. There's just too much complexity, too much interconnectedness. But if you're a new startup and you're prototyping and you're building, MVPs and you're, getting to market, it's absolutely changing that part. Because again, starting from scratch, the blank page is so much easier to, build stuff on top of than 10 years worth of code. Enterprise AI in action. How founders are winning by avoiding the hype. Silicon Valley builders are building faster than ever. AI is changing how Silicon Valley startups build. If you thought training AI models was hard, try building enterprise apps with them. Okay. Yeah. Building any software is complicated and difficult. It's just, yes. This is the lessons we need to learn. This video was really pretty cool. I mean, at 2x speed, it was pretty cool. Humanoid robots not not specialty programmed because they weren't programmed for a specific task. There was definitely some delay because it was having to, you know, put a camera feed out, stream that video into an AI. It was supposed to figure out what's going on in the thing, figure out what to do, then send the information back to the unit to tell it to go do the task. And then the onboard takes over to do the task, I guess. Um, but also they worked together. They understood that, there was a thing in front of me that my buddy over here is the one who is dealing with that. So here, I'll hand it to the person, and the other one will take. I said person. See, here we go. The other robot will take that piece and understand that, it was handed to him. Pronouns, man. These are the pronouns that are going to be the next generation. What do you call the robots? What do you call them? AI is prompting an evolution, not an extinction for coders. That's absolutely true. What is an AI native developer? Okay. Brace yourself. The era of citizen developers. It's not even citizen developers. I've been having these conversations a lot. It is citizen project managers. Product managers is what it is, right? You got a product you want to build. You have a tech team. It's your job to sort of communicate to that tech team what you want built, what the features are, what the information is, and then they take their special knowledge to figure out what's a good UI and UX, what are the colors that work together, what is a good layout, what is the functionality, how do you create the architecture and the levels of information, all that stuff is done by the team at the direction of the product manager. So, as we move into this new world where some software can be built, or at least mocked up and MVPs built, you can do that with voice. You can do it with voice. So, how are we doing? We got a few more minutes left. Okay. Microsoft cancels leases. Palantir stocks. Google made an announcement last year about a generative AI model for weather the numbers were bonkers, like how good it was. So now I guess Nvidia is trying to jump into that market too. I'm up for it. I want better weather prediction. I don't want AccuWeather to be profiting off of that. LLMs. Can your LLM earn $1 million from software engineering? Dumb. I hate these clickbaity titles because they always get me. Can AI coding systems earn $1 million as a freelancer? Oh, I see. So you put yourself up as a freelancer, and then when you get the job, AI writes all the code. But what is the $1 million? Where does that come from? AI researchers find that even the best AI is unable to solve the majority of coding some things. artificial intelligence stocks to watch. Yeah, all these health things. This is what I'm most excited about. Yeah, it's going to really supercharge the whole health research industry. That means better drugs, and that means better healthcare. I don't know about cheaper, but better. And I am for that. Okay, we're getting down to it. So, just as a reminder for anybody who's come to the stream late, my name is Keith, and I am a professional developer who has worked for over 30 years. Currently, I am managing a coding boot camp. Not technically true, but what has been a coding boot camp for the last 11 years, the Austin Coding Academy. And I help people break into the industry, but more importantly, we're shifting our focus as a educational organization to help people upskill, focus more on helping people who are working in tech stay current with their skill set. And we've got a new approach for that. And so that's my day job. That's what my focus is. But I have a lot of our former students and some students in our current program who are trying to break into the industry. They're looking for any angle. And the key to during looking for a job is staying consistent. Just being consistent. Getting there, hustling every day, getting up early, getting those job applications out, doing it every day. And when you go through that process, the people who are more consistent, the more people who built that habit up, the more people who put as much time in looking for a job as they did in getting the skills for a job, those folks are going to be the most successful, or at least get the first job sooner. So that's been our focus, is helping people break into the industry. And one of the ways I've been doing this since the beginning of the year, I've been broadcasting Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. We broadcast on Twitch, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you know anybody who is in the job market and is looking for a little backup in that process, send them the stream. Appreciate that. It's a tough time to be out of work, and every little angle we can use to get and stay motivated is going to be beneficial. So start sharing the stream and let everybody know, and I will see you in 23 hours when we are right back at it, broadcasting from Austin, Texas. Thanks, everybody. Have a great